Hello, friends. Hello, friends. Welcome to the latest edition of The Mind Behind here on Love Wrestling. As you can tell, I'm scrambling to get the promotional tweets out there because everybody needs to check out my guest today. He's an individual who is a good friend of mine at this point. You've seen him on Quizplex here on Love Wrestling, but if you haven't tuned into Love Wrestling before, you've seen him pretty well everywhere else. You've heard him pretty well everywhere else, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Apple Music. I almost said iTunes. Everywhere and anywhere. It is Fowl Original. Dude, it is great to see you on here again. Thank you for always being willing to hop on and be our guinea pigs for our latest and greatest projects, including this one. Great to see you, man. How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me on, Spenny. Like, it's crazy to think that. Like, obviously we know each other quite well from Twitter, but this is the first time we've probably sat down and had a chat. This is great. Thank you so much for having me.
Right? And I was going to say the same, like obviously hopping in as producer Spencer on Quizplex is a little bit of a different role, a little bit more imbibed role, I guess would be the best way to put it sometimes. But it's good to just sit down, and it's been nice to be able to sit down with people who, like, obviously I love professional wrestling. I can't relate to any of their experiences as far as taking a bump or getting out in front of thousands of fans. Sitting in with content creators, and obviously people are on here because I want to chat with them about what they do. But at the very least, when you're talking about podcasting or anything like that, at least I've got an idea, though I may say that of the 11 episodes of this I've done, I would certainly be the 12th best content creator to appear on this show, if you know what I mean. But I mentioned Quizplex before we kick it off here, full force with Fowl Original, lots of F's in there. Of course, I do want to remind you guys that throughout the month, we are collecting donations for the Trevor Project. We have raised 717 of our $1,000 goal thus far. The advertisement that you see there is our major fundraising push. That will be Quizplex at the end of the month, June 24th. We've got a couple of great guests, a trio, I suppose, of great guests lined up. And immediately following this edition of The Mind Behind, we'll be announcing our second competitor. We announced Nicole Matthews earlier in the week. Very, very excited to share our next and, of course, our third with you guys, and very excited to see great people in the chat like Pluggo the Mind Behind time, of course, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. What else would you be doing? It's kind of nice that some of the pro wrestling promotions moved out of our time slot. The counter booking really killed us. You know what I mean? But Fowl, of course, enough about me, enough about the stuff that we're getting up to. I, of course, want to start to touch on your career in frick everything. I wanted to try and make it really eloquent, but you're like the Johnny Cash of content creation, to paraphrase. You've done everything, man. So I really just want to kick it off with where you started in content creation, whether even professional wrestling content creation or not. What was your first foray into showcasing yourself on the internet, for lack of a better way to put it?
Oh yeah, saying it like that, like, well,
right? It could be taken in a little less PG ways, so I do apologize for that too.
Sorry, I've definitely embarrassed myself on the internet many, many times. Sometimes clothed, sometimes not. Mainly clothed. But,
this is what I talk about with relating to people here.
when it comes to content creation, like it's weird. Like, it's been a long time since I started back in 2016. So in 2016, I wanted to make YouTube videos, and like one of my major inspirations were podcasters, people like Solo Monster, people like Don Tony, all those guys who had, and you got some people here might remember riff tracks, TV tracks even. TV tracks. And TV tracks would have like and I used to watch TV tracks all the time. I was really into it. Started watching WrestleMania videos as well. And I was like, you know what? I want to have a go at this. I want to try and make a video. So I made a few. I made a top 10 video, which is now sitting at about 1.6 million views.
Holy
it was my second video I ever did. And that's the point where I was like, hey, this stuff could like work. Like, I could do this stuff. Like, it took time, and like I had to learn stuff doing it on a really crappy old laptop, which I've still got, and all these stuff. But 2016 started a YouTube channel. Stuff happened in life. I had to kind of rebuild a lot of stuff, but Fowl stayed with me. Fowl stayed with me and got a new job and stuff and carried on doing all that. And 2018, I think I came to like wrestling Twitter, And then I just didn't leave because it was so nice. It was so inviting. And like
To take
everyone
the
was
foul
so friendly.
metaphor, the phoenix rose from the ashes.
Yeah, exactly. And it was great. And like the cool thing was I did other content creation before I came to wrestling Twitter. I was on Periscope and I did a lot of live streaming with my phone. That is another like these are like internet flexes with points. They don't mean anything because Periscope's like pretty much gone now. But I had like 1.5 million likes on Periscope.
Cool, man.
Again, didn't make any sense, but I used to do really long videos about nothing in particular. Did a video about eating a sandwich. Yeah. And it was an egg sandwich.
Stuff though, like some of the stuff that hits on the internet, like there are people out there on Twitch and sleeping on streams that are getting more viewers than I could ever hope to get. You know, it's insane what some people, like you say, if eating a sandwich is bringing you 1.5 million, well done.
Wow. Funny story as foray onto that. Obviously, I've done loads and loads of bits of different content creation. And a lot of people might know me for doing watch-alongs because that's part, because as you said, I did like a bit of everything. Watch-alongs are something that I really was known for. So every wrestling pay-per-view, I used to do a watch-along. I would sit there and I was doing in the beginning. So like a long time ago, no one was really doing them. They happen quite late for us in the UK. So certain events, so certain events, I'm sitting there in front of my computer. The watch-alongs are done from my bed. I was lying down in bed. Naturally, at some point, you know, the match isn't as good as I expected it to be. It's a 45-minute slobber knocker, and I'm like, just turn my head, wake up, hour later, still streaming. Known as Sleepy Fowl for about like 6 months because it was people would wait till I fell asleep in the chat and then they'd message me. I'd get like donations to turn up to wake me up and I'd be like, oh, sorry.
Good problems to have though, right? I guess WrestleMania 32 must have ended early for you guys.
Yeah. Like I fell asleep in Hell in the Cell. You know the one when Brock Lesnar came back and he ripped the door.
Yeah, the first of 2 years in a row we got a no DQ ending to Hell in a Cell.
And I was at my brother's actually because I took it on the road with me, took my laptop to his, and I said, "Hey man, like I'm going to do this watch along on Sunday." He lives in a 1-bedroom like apartment. And I was there asleep about 6 o'clock. His fiance was like about to walk to the room and had to be like, "Wait, look, I was like randomly streaming while I'm sleeping for about the past 5 hours."
Okay, well, I may have to tune in once or twice and start to be the guy blowing your Twitch stream up as people are ours. Boothy, good to see you. Just a sexy foul.
How you doing?
I thought you were going for the backing vocal. I was really like,
oh, sorry. I would have.
No, it's okay. Do you want to? I know we can't rewind, but let's just like, he's just a sexy foul.
Sexy foul.
Thank you. Nicely done. Now I get to ask you about your album because now everyone's going to say that was a sexy foul voice. Nicely played. Evening to you, Mr. Amnesiac 123. Thank you for joining and hopping in.
Brian, thank you very much for joining.
Great to see you, Brian. Nice to meet you. And of course, Ed hopping in, wrestling Twitter inviting. Tell me what corner of the internet you live in. I need to live there. You know, though, it is a good point to kind of touch off of because obviously there's the negative connotation, the cesspool that does come with professional wrestling Twitter, but like I don't think there would be anybody, that would argue that like in the positive section of it, you would pretty well be at the forefront of it. So like you're a positive individual from any time I've talked to you, but like how do you avoid getting dragged down? Because honestly, man, you're a guy I always look to when I'm feeling blue, for lack of a better way to put it.
Oh, thank you very much. Like it's a strange thing. Like the last year, a lot of things I was able to put into like perspective. And when I first joined wrestling Twitter, for example, it was a different time. It was pre AEW, and I think that meant it was different. Yeah. There wasn't a tribalism as I see these days, where it's like everybody there was a lot more unity. We all hated the wrestling company that existed. We all hate that one wrestling company.
We all had a common enemy.
Exactly. And then they divided us. So, like, but back then, it would be like, oh, that terrible display of... And so I have always tried to look at the funny side of things that have happened. Like, you know, and I say this, like, last year, there were certain times when I probably showed that like emotionally, it was draining a lot, and it was taking a lot for me. And I showed that all on Twitter. And there's certain times when people are human, so you can be positive, but you also have to think to be realist sometimes. And sometimes people will just try to get a rise out of you, and it's trying to. I think it's trying to figure out when they're trying to do it just to be like a bit laughy and jokey, and when they're being really serious and truly serious about it. And I think a lot of times it's hard to see like intention and context in text as well. So someone can say something and you can read it 12 million different times. So
that's how I friend. Hello, Shay. Hello, everybody. Rating, it is appreciated. Thank you for joining us. We are hosting, I am hosting, I suppose, the latest edition of The Mind Behind every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I host a content creator in professional wrestling, whether it's YouTube, whether it's another Twitch streamer, whether it's a podcast, or whether it's anything in between. We host them. We chat for about half an hour pre-NXT, I suppose. Now, it used to be pre-Impact, pre-NXT. Thank you guys for joining us. It is very, very appreciated. Selfishly, I am going to take the opportunity to plug the fact that all month here on Love Wrestling, we are raising money for the Trevor Project. If you see that link below, we will also throw it here in the Twitch chat. We're trying to raise $1,000 towards them. What they do is they provide crisis intervention and suicide prevention resources to LGBTQ plus youth all around the world. It's a great cause. You guys have already supported us above and beyond by coming to Raid Shay. Again, I appreciate the hell out of it, but if you guys want to go a little more above and beyond, that would certainly be the way to do it. Tom Hoppin and Fowl's hair is the work of legend. I completely agree. What a gorgeous beard. Oh, Fowl. See, this is a good choice. You bring in Fowl's a draw, they say in the wrestling business, I suppose, correct?
I guess so. All I had to do was grow a beard, grow a little bit of hair, and everyone can see me. It's all good. Thank you very much.
That's why I first got into audio podcasting, as I was told I had a face for podcasting. Right. Pluggo, thank you guys for the bits. Of course, we are matching all bits that are acquired today, that are donated today on the stream. I'll be matching them as we've been doing on most of our streams here on Love Wrestling. So thank you guys once again. That is 225 total bits that we will be matching again towards the Trevor Project. But Fowl, let's get back to you. And of course, not only your gorgeous beard, but the gorgeous, gorgeous work you do, the gorgeous vocal tones that you have exhibited not only on this stream, but like I mentioned earlier, man, you're the first person on here, I believe, that I was able to look up on Apple Music, which was neat. So I'm certain that anybody who has followed you on Twitter, if you guys don't, obviously, he'll be plugging it shortly. But if you got the opportunity to check out some Fowl originals that are covers, I suppose, I guess you can do a better job of explaining this than I can. Give us the story behind that. Told you this one was going to go a little bit off the rails. It happens sometimes.
No, but I like it. You're setting me up, and I'm hitting them out. It's all good. So, like, no, thank you. So, yes, the album. So, album Fowl Unplugged, aka Wrestling with Coffee, Volume 1, was an album that started last year. Now, last year, as some of you probably know that will follow me along, I quit my job. The world ended, realized I had nothing I could do. So I was like, I'm just going to do content creation, and I'm going to challenge myself with every single thing that I do. Singing is one of the things that I always like doing, playing guitar, but I never really found like a real forum for it. And I moved to this room. So this room is a separate room from the house. And as part of that, I've got more space, I've got wingspan in here. So I was sitting here one evening just playing guitar, and it was just like 9 o'clock in the evening playing guitar, and I did a cover of Judas. It wasn't great, but it was there. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm putting it on the internet. Nothing's going to happen. It's seen by a few people. Chris Jericho sees it and says, this is really good. I really like this. Gives me the nickname of the 70s singer-songwriter. And I'm like, aha.
I like it.
Yeah, I was like, I like this. Here, the guitarist from his band who wrote the song followed me and said, I really like this. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be a superstar. Didn't think that. But I thought I've got a
I was
little
gonna say
way.
it went 0 to 60 real quick from I'm gonna put it on the internet, nothing's gonna happen, to I'm now the 70s singer-songwriter of Fozzy.
You got to understand that at the time it was July, so it was literally this time last year, and it was wrapping up to the end of me having like anybody left. So I was kind of like, well, this is another one of those Hail Marys I'll throw out there, and I didn't intend anything to happen. So but she did it, and then went outside to the garden for about half an hour, came back to a bunch of notifications and went, oh, okay. So for then the next 4 or 5 days, I decided that I was going to secretly produce an EP without anyone realizing. And I released 4 songs on Twitter, which were done, arranged, figured out how I was going to do them acoustically, all recorded in the day with like no real equipment, as bare bones as possible. And I had all 5 of them done. I think I finished with like Cult of Personality, and that was it. Then I learned how I could put that onto the internet to like distribute it, DistroKid, and then that threw it out everywhere. So within the space of about 2.5 weeks, I had an album released. And it went everywhere, as you said. Yeah, so I produced some album art for it. I put it to my Patreons. I gave them special like liner notes and stuff. But yeah, within the space of 4 weeks, snap. And I remember thinking, that was a lot easier than I expected it to be. But it was, it sold. It's just, I think it's one of those things where I said to myself so many times, I could do that. Yeah. I could do that. But, you know, at the time I had literally, that was like my last. So to put this into context, I had like about 80 quid left in the bank at the time. And and that cost me 70. So I just went, just throw 70 quid, Dad. I'll have cereal for a few weeks. And that's what happened. And like, it was purely like, I'll hopefully have a job soon. So that whole album has a very special place in my heart, because I was like, it's another one of those Hail Marys. But yeah, I've got some more stuff I'm going to be releasing this year later on, actually.
Awesome. That was, obviously, you took the question right out of my mouth, but maybe don't give away the farm as far as what's going to be coming up, but maybe is there anything you're particularly looking forward to covering, or something that you think would be a unique challenge, or by whatever definition that you would want to cover in the future?
So originally the plan was to record Judas in like a jazz swing style, a la what's his name, Richard Cheese and the Lounge Against the Machine, because I was like, this would be really good. That was the plan. The plan changed when I had to pick up the guitar and it became serious.
That happens sometimes in professional wrestling, I've heard.
Plans change, yeah. Card is very subject to change. But I've got a few. There's something that I've been asked to do, which is very interesting, and I've got a very fun idea for that. But some other stuff that I've got coming up, it's wrestling related, but very tenuously. So hopefully that's as vague as I can keep it, and keep it like.
Well, and I do apologize, because Mr. Amnesiac 123, I believe it was Brian.
Yes, Brian.
Nailed it. That was one of my New Year's resolutions. I want to be better with names. Either way, I hope there's some prog rock on the new one, Fowl. I wouldn't disagree there at all. Camacho Man. Absolutely beautiful. Of course, friends, we've still got about 15 minutes with the handsome, the lovely bearded Fowl original here on The Mind Behind. So keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming. But of course, I've got plenty of my own. Fowl, you mentioned earlier you were the 70s singer-songwriter as named by Jericho. Where did Ever So Obscure come from?
So basically, like last year, I was having an identity crisis. Like I daily have an identity crisis, to be honest. But yeah. I was having a bit of an identity crisis. And I was like, what am I? So I kept going to Reddit. And I'd go to Reddit and like everyone loves my stuff. And it's like, I come back to Twitter and they're like, I kind of get it, but I have no idea where it's from. And
they're
I was
such
like,
different animals, yeah.
And I was like, okay, so what do I actually do? I was like, I'm kind of like obscure. Like I'm infamous. Like I'm infamous. Aren't I? Like people know who I am, but okay, I guess I'm obscure. And I was like, I'm British, so I'm ever so obscure. So then it just stuck for now. I think at some point it will go away, but for now it's just like
we'll change it up one of these days, but that will be one of these days. I'll get to Ed's question first here. What part of content creation do you enjoy the most, and what part frustrates you the most?
Okay, now that is a really good question. The part that I enjoy the most is the creation part, like the breaking, like finding an idea, trying to then work out how you're going to make that idea. Is it going to be an audio thing? Is it going to be a video thing? Is it going to be like a drawing thing? Is it going to be just a written thing? That's what I really enjoy. And then trying to overcome those challenges to get the vision out. Part that frustrates me the most is sometimes when you can't make that vision a reality. Like you've got the idea, but there's something that's not allowing to do it. It could be time, it could be money, it could be just that it's ever so obscure and then no one would care. Like, but that's the part that really frustrates me.
Well played, excellently played. You've done this once or twice before. Hey, Everything Pro Wrestling, good to see you, Conrad. Lover Wrestling plus Fowl equals a win. I appreciate that. I've been very lucky to have some good guests on there. If there's one place I'll put myself over, it's that I'm very lucky to have some great individuals join me on the show. And maybe one of these days, check your DMs. I'll see you soon back here, my friend. Fowl, is the wrestling recap returning, or has wrestling Twitter killed it? We're getting the exclusives here.
It's a very contentious point. Okay, so it's not contentious as such. Wrestling Twitter hasn't killed it. Real life has killed it in a way. It is coming back, and I was trying to work out how to do that. But what I found is having my Wednesday night back is so goddamn liberating. Like, just because I don't think people understand the amount of work that goes into the show because of like the graphics and stuff that I have going on. So prep for that show, it starts at 10 p.m. my time. Prep for that show starts at 5 p.m. my time. So it's 5 p.m. in between dinner, doing all that stuff. And then the show, I have to have it exactly ready. And as everybody knows who watches the show, I'm never ready. So like that's why, but it will be coming back in some slight form at some point. Hiatus.
You'd have time for it if you stopped following Allison Hammond around.
Yo,
not my words, just a comment. If I'm going to encourage people to comment, I am of course going to make sure that they are usually reflected on screen. I'll give that there's some caveats to that. This is one I'll put up for sure. Fowlio and Spencer, two of the best in the game. If we were to put another name in there, though, Magsy, you would certainly be in there as well. Good to see you, friend. And again, another previous guest of the Mind Behind. There we go, friend. Boss Pedal hopping in. Do you write themes for indie wrestlers, or would you be interested to if any are listening? I like that question. That's a great one.
Yeah, wow. Boss Pedal, thank you for the beard comment earlier on as well. I was reading.
Boss Pedal is over in the Love Wrestling chat.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I don't, but that would be amazing. That would be really fun, actually. That piano in the background is not a real piano. That's a cardboard piano for my Labo. But I would love to try it. That would be really interesting. That would be really cool, actually. I wouldn't even think of that.
Now, it's sort of, again, going off the question we asked earlier on covering, but like, if there was a name out there that you could write theme music for, who would it be?
Oh, sure. Ooh, that is really interesting. I'm a really big fan of Kenny Omega, but game music, I think he's already kind of got it. I'd really love to write something for Parker Boudreaux. I think that'd be quite
good call.
Like, because I think you could go several different ways with that. And I know he's not indie, but that's who I'd look at the moment. I
never specified. The field was wide open for you, friend, and you hit her out of the park. Tom hopping in. It's good to see you, my friend. The graphics and topics are so in-depth for your show. I don't know how you do it. Yeah, that's a comment I can echo. You're damn good at what you do. If I didn't have Zach, this whole screen here wouldn't look nearly as good. Magsy hopping in. I have a question. When is Fallio getting a haircut? We had a lot of people commenting earlier about how good looking his hair was.
I know
I think that might be a hot take in there, Mags, if I'm using that phrase correctly. I'm not known for my hot takes. My hot take is be like super positive.
like Mags, yeah, you could have been like when you get an Alice band, like when you're getting a bandana. You don't have to be like when you're getting a haircut. Like
you sound like my parents for most of my high school years and most of the last 2 years. However, with the face turn in here as well, Fallio's EP is in my Spotify rotation. It's really, really good. Mags, if you were tuned in a little bit earlier, we couldn't get too into it, but Fallio's got some good stuff coming up a little bit later. Unfortunately, though, you did declare war, as astutely pointed out by the handsome Tom Colley. Friends, of course, we've got another 5 minutes or so. We usually go over our match times here on Love Wrestling because let me tell you, as somebody who's never professionally wrestled, I don't have any sort of time limit I've got to keep to. So, yeah. Whether you're getting an Alice band or bandana.
You dickhead.
That was just a well-played comment. I can't even take anything away from you there, Magsy. It was very, very well done. But like I was mentioning, we've got about 5 minutes left, so of course feel free to continue throwing your questions in there because by no means is that a hard 5 minutes. But you and I were talking a little bit before the stream, and it's something you told me you were just starting to get into. So again, I'm not here to get the hot scoops. I'm not here to steal your pop, again in the wrestling phrase, but you were talking about getting a little bit more into the art side of things. So tell me a little bit about that, or tell me a lot about that if you want to.
Yeah, sure. So like, it's really, as I said, last year was kind of, I was trying to do loads of things. And a lot of it was, I don't have time. Do I have time to dedicate to learn this skill? I probably don't have the time to like learn this skill, but I'm going to give it a goddamn good try. I tried to learn to draw last year. It didn't happen because I kind of like, I used to draw when I was younger and I used to do it quite a lot, but I never really like followed it and everything. And then I got to last year and I wanted to do, so this is like this. So I wanted to do a show which involved characters which are drawn and move. So I was like, how do I do that? And I was like, so I want to do an animated show. And I was like, but how? I wanted to produce everything for it. So I was like, how? Because that's the challenge that I always bring to myself. It's like, can I do this all myself? I found a few cheat ways to do it, but I wanted to learn. So start of this year, I accidentally made a bit of money on GameStop. Accidentally, like pure accident, pure memery. And I had like a tiny bit of extra
We'll have a
money.
Conversation about that too.
Yeah.
That'll be an off-air thing, but we'll talk about that later. I got a good story there.
Cool. So like accidental memery buddy came in and I was like, I could buy like a tablet PC, which is what I did for like £200. Really cheap Chinese thing, which is like the dodgiest thing in the world. But I work in IT, so I was like, I can make this thing purr. So now I have like a drawing tablet, which would be worth about like $1,000 if I bought it, and I've just made it myself. So I just sit there drawing, and it's been so therapeutic and so great. But I've been learning digital art programs, and I've spent like the past few months learning them. So I just want to draw. So I'm drawing. So if you go to my Instagram, there's drawing things. It's like I've gone through all the creator phases really quickly. Like it's just like I've gone through like it's like I want to sing, I want to draw. I'm in the drawing phase at the moment. So like and I want to draw, so I'm learning to draw.
Coming to stage in 2022, I would hope to say Fowl Original at some point here. Like who knows? But if it is, we're going to have you back on to talk about it.
Exactly. Like if I actually drew something that was like not that was really good, if I drew something that actually did quite well, like obviously I'd send you guys a copy of it. Like immediately I'd be like, here you go. You probably have to pay for it, I think, at that point. But you know, as
long as we can work out a payment plan, we're cool. Let me tell you, we're low budget on a monthly basis. So as long as you're cool with us sending you like enough to cover an upsized meal, Cool. We'll call that one square. Maybe a better idea here, though, too, than me getting monthly payments to you for the next 5 years. Tasteful nudes to OnlyFans 2022. Fowl Original. I think that's something you can start now. I think that's something like you've got photography skills. I figured that you can maybe hop on there.
I mean, I figured
you
out
can record an album in 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, but there's certain angles that I won't be able to reach on my own. Like,
that's completely fair. I can't claim to know the intricacies that go into it. And let me tell you, nobody would pay for the Spencer Love OnlyFans had that ever. No, let me tell you, if there's anything I'm certain of, that would be it. However, Magsy, thank you for a nice compliment. I appreciate that. It means a lot that not only have we been able to do a lot of good between all of us here on the Love Wrestling end of things, but that's all because of people who are tuning in like you guys. Seriously. The fact you guys are hopping in, donating bits, donating directly to the link that we've had on the screen, and hopping in the chat a couple of times. Seriously, guys, we couldn't do it without you. And it means a lot, I know, not only to myself personally, but a lot of individuals personally on the Love Wrestling team, that you guys have gone so above and beyond. It's the 8th day of Pride Month. We've got, I'm terrible at math, 22, 23 more days to go. June 31st, right. June 30th, we end the month. So, of course, friends, we have 22 more days to collect for the Trevor Project. So once again, if you guys would like to donate towards that initiative, donate.tiltify.com/@LoveWrestlingCA/ Trevor Project is where you can do so. For most of the streams this month, we are going to be donation matching, whether it's bits, subs, anything along those lines. It is always appreciated however you choose to support those. So if you've just tuned in today and enjoyed yourself, because I enjoyed the hell out of getting to chat with someone I'm lucky to call a friend, but also someone who is a hell of a content creator in a lot of wide varieties of ways. Thank you guys very, very much for the support. Fowl, thank you for the time today, man, because it's always a blast. You got a lot of stuff to plug, so I'm even going to give you the big screen for it. But if people want to keep up to date with the latest and greatest from Fowl Original, whether it's now, whether it's upcoming here, here's the screen for you, friend. Let them know where they can.
oh, hello everyone. Hi.
Bando. Oh,
Thank you. Actually, yeah, before Bando,
tier 1 subs. Man, thank you very, very much. Friends, if you're in the chat and you were just gifted a sub, please make sure you thank Bando1414 for that, because that is going to be matched. It is going to go directly into the Trevor Project, which, again, I'm bad at math. 7 times I have $35 into the 717 that we already have. So seriously, thank you guys very much. I hope we make your subscription worth your while. You got a lot of neat little emotes that come up, especially the one of my dog I am partial to. But of course, I'm saying this all while Fowl's got the screen. So Fowl, please feel free to plug your social media after I, of course, make sure I thank you once again, Bando.
No, well, number one, thank you, Bando. Like, I see all the regs from my peeps getting. Thank you very much. That's really nice, and I hope that they can pop in that gift sub. And thank you so much as well. Oh god damn, these guys are really nice. See, I've said this before. Now, hello. I start this again. Hi, I'm Fowl Original. You can find me on youtube.com/FowlOriginalWrestling. You can also find me on Twitter @Fowl_original. Also on Instagram @FowlOriginal. Also on a website called FowlOriginal.com. If you want to give me some money, go to that website. You can also go to patreon.com/FowlOriginal. On that Patreon, you can get yourself a full album with liner notes and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes I put other things out there. Now that I'm an artist, you'll be getting behind the scenes stuff of art stuff. And there you go. That's about it.
That was a flawless plug. And if there's anybody out there who ever wanted to figure out or needed advice on how to plug shows, how to plug what you guys are getting up to in just what was a calm, cool, collected, and I'm just going to say it, sexy way, Fowl just laid down the law as far as that goes. If there's an instructional video out there that wants to buy that footage, please hop in my DMs, because that as well would technically be a donation that we will match to the Trevor Project. Friends, thank you again. Brian, thank you for hopping in. That's super appreciated. Got Twitch for tonight's show. Looks like I'm staying for a while. Nice talk. Thank you guys. If you guys are a new subscriber, whether it's on your own, whether it's because Bando was kind enough to gift you a sub, we got lots going on. Even tonight, we are going to have Zach Ralph back tonight, matching bit donations on the latest edition of Power Out. Of course, if you guys pay any attention to the NWA, whether it's tuning in on Fight, whether it's keeping track on Twitter, before today's show of The Mind Behind started, Mickie James made her NWA debut, and they announced an all-women's pay-per-view. So it's going to be a very exciting edition of that show tonight. And we got lots of great stuff coming up, including your weekly edition of The Mind Behind. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a graphic done up soon enough, so I deserve to get sewered for this, frankly. But next week, I am lucky enough to be joined by my friend Anthony from the Smart and Friends podcast, a guy who I've been lucky enough to have a beverage or two with at All In. He was a gentleman who was one of my first people that I got to get to know in professional wrestling Twitter. And Fowl, like you said, when you get to find great people right off the bat, like I was lucky enough to with Anthony and have been lucky enough to with you keep them. So I'm lucky enough to chat with him next week. Hope you guys tune in for that. Hope you guys continue to tune in to our upcoming streams. However, I also hope that you guys continue to stay tuned in as I continue to vamp and we select a channel to raid. That is what we are going to do. We are going to go watch some professional wrestling with our friend Ben at Big Ben is Angry. Make sure you join us over there because we've always talked about supporting great people in the content creation community and the wrestling community. He crosses both of those boxes off, so we're going to head that way. The raid button is popping up. If you guys are tuned in on Facebook or YouTube, you guys are going to hear the music here in a hot second. And if you're on Twitch, we will see you guys in a hot second. Thank you once again. I speak for Fowl on this for joining us on Love Wrestling. We will see you guys tonight, then, now, and forever, to steal a phrase. We'll see you soon.